Hey guys, Abe from Overcast Gamer, just here to let you know that this episode of the podcast is brought to you by Ling's Fruit and Veggie. Now, Ling's Fruit and Veggie is exactly as it sounds. It's a fruit and veggie shop in Auckland's North Shore. Whether you're in the market for some apples or even a pumpkin, head over to Ling's Fruit and Veggie and use the promo code SECRET for a free carrier bag. That's promo code SECRET, and you get a free, finely stitched, I might add, carrier bag. Save the planet and all that. Go to it. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Overcast Gamer Show. What are we, Regan? What are we doing here?
I'm summing up the whole podcast in a sentence.
You're just summing up whatever you want to, man.
I just finished my dinner, and it was delicious. Thank you to my lovely partner who made that for me. But I guess we're OCG, if that's kind of where you're going with that, Abe. But
yeah. No, that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, well, okay, good. we're OCG, and this new intro has really gone to plan.
Oh, yeah. Completely.
My name's Regan Harper. Yeah.
We're flying off the handle at the moment.
Yeah, it's good. My name's Regan Harper. That guy's Abe Foster, and there's also another guy here who's introing himself right now.
He just cracked open a nice cold beverage.
Yeah, it's a hot afternoon, using my aforementioned beat the heat strategy.
Beat the heat, that sounds...
having a fan prior to the fan shortage and having a cool beverage.
Yeah, good.
Man.
You got to follow your own advice in that kind of scenario.
The heat sort of rhyming scheme reminds me of the New Zealand, the old slip, slop, slap and rap thing they've always... Or if you don't got a rubber, there'll be no hubba hubba. You guys remember that one?
I don't
remember. And of course,
remember
the classic togs, undies.
Oh yeah, that totally rhymes. I mean,
absolute classic. Absolutely. I remember. Have we ever talked about that on the podcast? I'm not sure if we have, but if we haven't, I'll continue. No, good. So at work, there's just me bringing that up. At work, I used to work in a team where there were like 3 of the 5 in the team were from overseas, and. Yeah. That togs, undies thing came up, and I remember trying to explain it to them. And I challenge you guys, next time you get the opportunity with someone from overseas, to explain that ad and have it make sense to them. Like, it can't be done. It can't be done. That just doesn't compute in people's minds. It's just one of those quintessentially Kiwi things.
Well, you just sum it up with the ending line. If you're not at the beach, they're undies. That's it. I don't even know what the ad was for. I'm pretty sure it was just a PSA that if you're not at the beach, you're not dressed appropriately.
Was it like Tip Top or something like that? Like ice cream?
Yeah, it was like Fruju or something like that. Or Trumpet, I think it might have been. Yeah, really odd one. I went through I've been down this rabbit hole a few times actually, of watching old New Zealand ads on YouTube. These big compilations, 15-minute compilations of old Kiwi ads, even ones from before I was born. And it's really interesting, eh? Just see some of these ads, you're like, oh shit, I never would have thought of that. Again.
A lot of them are well shit though, eh? Like,
oh, terrible.
Yeah. Like there was kind of a style of kind of just a borderline adequacy to New Zealand television in the late 80s and early 90s. And
that sounds like it should be our tagline, Regan, borderline adequacy.
Yeah, and it kind of just, I don't know, when I think back to that era, and particularly the advertisements, that's the kind of shit that I think of, but, interesting.
I was just going to say, I went off on another tangent after that, in which I went through watching all the countries from around the world, watching their car crash PSAs, drink driving and speeding and all that sort of, it was a pretty grim evening, but, it was pretty interesting, man. Like, we got off light here in New Zealand, to be honest. Remember the ones with the guy like smashes into the wall and he's dead and the horn's going and his friend's like, turn it off, somebody turn it off. That is like nothing. That is like play centre or, play school or whatever you want to call it, compared to some of these ones I saw, especially from Ireland. Man, really? Ireland's dark for some... Yeah, oh yeah. Ireland had this one where a bunch of kids are out on a school trip and they're out on a sort of picnic in the woods, and this dude's speeding and he flies around this corner. The car like rolls over this concrete wall and squashes about 10 children.
Oh, Jesus.
That's horrific. Like,
And Balthazar's reaction is just to laugh. Typical.
That's really grim, eh? Yeah.
Oh man, that's intense. Like you see the kids get crushed.
Yeah, you do.
Oh gosh. Wow. Well,
I mean, hopefully it's not a snuff film, but it was pretty brutal. I was like, man, we got away easy with just our weird ghost chips ones and all that sort of thing.
Do you guys have actual TV now? Not just obviously TV boxes, but a TV service.
No, I watch it. The only thing I watch on actual television is Police 10-7, and I watch that on demand. So I never actually watch that on broadcast TV, but I do use their website to watch that.
What about you, Regan?
Yeah, we do have a TV, but I barely ever watch it. It's mostly just so that Casey has something going on in the background while she crochets. Yeah, no, TV, yeah.
So you haven't seen? Have you seen the ads currently running in New Zealand about not texting while you're driving?
Oh, is this the one about... Oh, no, I'm thinking of the one where he's stoned and he crashes into the thing.
No, this one is... I thought it was funny because this is an ad on New Zealand television, but nobody has television anymore. So I found out about this from an American podcast. We have an ad where whenever the driver reaches over to try pick his phone up from the tray, the passenger reaches over and puts his hand on top of it, so the driver ends up holding his hands.
Yeah, I have seen this one. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't have TV, so I hadn't seen it, but I heard about it on the Rooster Teeth podcast where the host Gus just said it's so good because in America they'd have things like "don't text and drive, you dummy" or whatever, but in New Zealand he called it the Kiwi mentality. He was like, where they're not like, don't do it. They're just like, if you do this, people might think you're gay, and you don't want to be gay, do you?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm not sure if we really want to promote that sort of thing. Like, it seems like we go back a few years now.
Yeah, but it's true. It is that like Kiwi mentality, not the actual seriously like, oh, I don't want to be perceived as gay, but that whole bro sort of, oh, you're gay, no, you're gay, kind of thing. And I just love that overseas people have identified that. I haven't even fucking seen it because I don't have a TV service.
Well, how the fuck did this Rooster Teeth guy come across an ad from New Zealand? Like,
he was in New Zealand the other week, and I guess just in his hotel he was watching TV, which, to be fair, that's the only time I've watched TV. When I flew to Auckland and Christchurch earlier, I watched TV in the hotel room, but that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the extent of my TV watching, although I did watch a lot when I was over in... Or not a lot, but I watched it whenever I was in... whenever I had a spare chance in the various countries in Europe, because it's so amazing seeing commercials in a completely different language and, seeing something come on and it's like dishwashing powder. This is... 299 insert currency here, and I was like, that's outrageous, and it's actually like $2.50.
Yeah, 299 flim flams. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, no, I haven't watched New Zealand telly in a long time. Yeah, as I mentioned, the only thing I watch is Police 10-7, and that's on demand. And I watch that. I still watch that the time it airs. I watch it live on demand, so it kind of defeats the point of watching it on demand. Yeah, I just like being part. I just like feeling like I'm a part of something. I like going on their Facebook page afterwards and looking at all the hilarious comments.
Wow, I didn't realize you were that deep down that rabbit hole. That's great. That's
it gives my life structure, Regan.
Once a week, I get to sit down and feel good about the situation that I'm in. I'm not
once every Thursday.
Yeah, I'm not in a paddy wagon. Life is okay.
That's the one. And I do have a lot of spare time at the moment, so I'm needing to fill that void with something.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Now, someone had a bad experience with Electronic Arts. They had a good experience with Electronic Arts. A notoriously shit company. Who was this person?
It was me. It was a surprising experience. Effectively what happened is my EA account got hacked, which I found out via email. And at first I thought was fraudulent because it came from E.A at EA.com. Something weird. Oh, wow. And I was like, this isn't real at all. And it just said, hi, no name after it. Your what was it? Oh, your password, your email address associated with your EA account has been changed. Click this link if this wasn't you. So the classic, you didn't change your email, but also the classic, click this link to go down a rabbit hole and give us all your details kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, that looks dumb, that's fake, whatever, left it. Next morning, I get up and I had 6 more emails from the 6 different EA games that I own tied to that account. And they all said, hey, your account information has been updated. And so then I was like, okay, this is probably actually real. So I went to log into Origin and I couldn't. So I clicked the link in the first email saying if this wasn't you, click it, and it still worked. So it reverted my email address, but I had to reset my password, and by the time I got back in, everything had been changed. So firstly, I learned this probably wasn't a malicious hack. This was someone, I think, trying to probe for an unused account to get some free games, because he legitimately changed all the information to his personal information. I knew everything about this dude. So not a very smart hacker.
Did you jot down his dates?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't
I
give a
totally
fuck.
would have.
It was like Ernest Wong or something. It was.
I would have I would have.
That sounds familiar.
I would have gone on a rampage,
true.
man. Like I would have been on Facebook, Twitter, tracking this guy down. Like.
Yeah, now I don't have any of those things, so I didn't think to use them to try and track someone down.
True.
And I just don't care, like, at all. There was, like I said, there was nothing malicious actually done. Perhaps if there had been, I would be out for revenge, but nothing happened. So I went in and I managed to change everything back except for my username, because that required answering my security questions, but he changed the security questions.
Right.
So I contacted EA support, and at first it was the worst customer service experience ever, because pretty much I couldn't figure out how to email them. And then when I figured out how to, they said they didn't accept emails about hacked accounts. It had to be done via a phone call, and they provided an international toll number at $5 a minute.
Oh, man, that's good
start.
Yeah, so I navigated my way back through the email contact platform and basically just said it was an account info email, not an account hacked email. And immediately someone came back to me and didn't say, like, hey, we can't sort this. He was like, hey, I want to initiate a live chat with you. Can you click this thing to accept it or whatever? So I accepted, and the dude was actually really helpful. He went through the whole process. Initially, he tried to say he couldn't help me. And then I told him, hang on a minute, mate. I work at a place that basically has a database with people's information in it. I know that you can see what my information was for 8 years leading up to this hack, and I can answer any questions based on that information. So don't tell me you don't know what it was and you can't verify I'm not the hacker, because I know you can. And he was like, all right, fair play. And he security checked me based on old information, reset my security questions, and everything was back in. So it wasn't the most hassle-free, easy experience, considering I did have to jump through some hoops. But for EA, it was much better than anything I could have expected.
How much do you reckon it's cost you to just keep your own privacy? Like, how much do you reckon that phone... Oh, I suppose you didn't call them, did you?
No, it was an email.
Okay.
It was an email and then a live chat.
Yeah,
so
disregard
it cost
my
me
question.
nothing. And if you're going to say based on a salary or whatever, I did it at work, so I was paid to do it.
So you made money.
Nice. I was going to say, just be like, hey, mate, I know Andrew Wilson. I'm going to get in touch with Andrew Wilson. Yeah. He's not going to be happy about this. No, because you'll sound like an Australian to the EA person. So, yeah. Just be like, oi. I know Andrew Wilson.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's actually very surprising. And it is, I mean, they can't call our bluff, right? Because we've all worked at call center places. It must be shit working at EA's call center, customer support place, because both the places I've worked for customer support, the companies are generally liked, or at least halfway liked. EA, like no one likes EA. I mean, come on.
Can you imagine the calls those guys must get to? Like, someone whose like email's been hacked and they're like, "You guys have lost all of my personal information and your games are shit." Like, that would be a tough conversation to have, you know?
Oh man, it's. I mean, is it their games are shit though? Like, is that why we hate EA? It's not really, right?
No, it's not.
It's their attitude.
It's their attitude. Yeah, exactly. It's not putting gamers first, right? Those kind of business decisions that come from them, I suppose. But
yeah, it's very anti-consumer business decisions made on their side. The games are actually pretty decent. Like, I mean, some of them are. The ones that I'm looking at my shelf now, I don't actually have a single EA one on there, but that doesn't help my point.
They do have that game A Way Out coming out soon.
Yes,
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's very soon too. I think, like in the next couple of weeks.
It is super soon because Joseph Fares was on the Game Awards last year to promote it and ended up just cussing out the Oscars for some reason.
Brilliant.
It's one of the hardest things to watch I've ever seen, and also one of the most entertaining.
Yeah.
This guy, just watching Jeff Keighley's face as this guy takes over the scene and starts swearing and flipping off the camera. Like, he flipped off millions of people simultaneously who were not expecting to be flipped off. That's pretty amazing.
I think it's genius. I think it really is genius. Like, it got people talking about him and his game. So, like, you know, he's running on the whole any press is good press type.
Yeah. Clever fella. And I dig his first game, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. I thought that was fantastic. So, yeah, I'll definitely be picking up A Way Out with the old, bringing back the split screen sort of thing. I think that's great. But anyway, we best move on and talk about some actual video games that we've been playing there. So, I mean, Regan, you were up in my neck of the woods a couple of weeks ago there. And you know, we went around and we filmed some stuff. If you want to see the video we filmed,
you should head to the website, head to overcastgamer.com and just find Abe's mug on there. It'll be on the front page if you look at it over the next couple of days.
No, that's actually the other video that I filmed by myself. That's
it
the
is.
comparison
Yeah,
video.
You're right.
Yeah, no, the one everyone should look for is called "What the Hell is Overcast Gamer?" and all your questions will be answered once you watch that video. If you don't know what we are or who we are, just have a nosy of that and get back to us with all your thoughts and feedback. Overcastgamer@gmail.com.
Yeah, sounds good. But anyway, I did visit you, Abe, and it was a rollicking good time. We went and we sampled some musical acts, which was good. Well, it was kind of a mixed bag. Yeah, it was kind of, if you ask me. Opening act, not so great, but the main event was shit hot.
Absolutely.
Filmed a video, and I brought a game to you, which you're going to talk about soon, and you gave a game. Well,
absolutely.
Lent a game to me. That game being The Last Guardian. Because it's the kind of thing, like, I don't know what it is about that game. I kind of forgot about it, and then I just kind of, you know, as I walked into your room, I just took a sneaky sideways glance to, you know, look across your game shelf, and saw it there.
Had a pervert my games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just, you know, a little bit of me time with your games, and saw it there. I was like, oh shit, that's right. It's, you know, for whatever reason, it skipped my mind. So borrowed that off Abe and have played maybe 2 hours of it, so not a whole lot. It just hasn't been a very kind of games-filled couple weeks, but
yeah,
from what I've played so far, pretty cool. I can kind of see how Trico, is it his name? Trico? Trico would get really fucking frustrating. Like, as you as you get towards more and more, you know, challenging scenarios, I bet he just becomes an absolute dickhead. You know,
it's a really interesting game in that way, because I watched a bunch of interviews with Fumito Ueda, the designer and the guy behind games like Echo and Shadow of the Colossus and stuff like that, and also Last Guardian, and he talks about the frustration with sort of the idea that sometimes your commands don't work feeds into the whole idea of him being a wild animal, right. And I thought that was quite clever, in that it was sort of covering for the game being a bit janky, and also feeding into that idea of you having a dog. I don't know. I thought that was quite an interesting way to look at it, and a very smart thing to go about doing.
Yeah, it's interesting because, that I guess makes sense. I don't get the sense that Trico is super janky. The janky part is the animations for when you jump up as the boy. You jump up and you grab onto Trico, and if Trico happens to be moving about, you are just flapping about in the wind.
Yeah.
It's like one of those ping pong ball rackets with like a ball on a bit of elastic, and you tap it off the ping pong racket. It's like that. So that's essentially my impression of the game so far. Is this thing's going to get annoying. It's really nice to look at, and also it's funny to hang on to the thing and flap about. It's but that's. I feel a little bit ashamed that that's all I've done. You remember in the last podcast we talked about how I was looking forward to watching paint dry. That's happened now. That is currently happening. So that's kind of why the gaming is put on the back burner a little bit.
Beautiful. And this is actual paint, not virtual paint.
No, genuine paint. So
right.
Yeah, we had a mission on last Saturday where we were choosing paint colours and things like that, and we came out with grey. If anyone was wondering, we're painting our house grey.
Came out with grey.
Yeah.
The sort of on the fence.
Yeah, exactly.
Type of colour.
I could probably go on for a while about the decision process and what our plans
paint
are.
swatches.
Yeah, all of that kind of stuff. But I'd imagine we're going to end up boring some people. So, yeah.
Overcast Gamer Podcast brought to you by Resine.
By Resine, yeah. Actually, funnily enough, Resine, as far as colour advice, were the worst. I'd recommend Bunnings.
Hot take, Regan.
Yeah, there you go. So if you're painting your house, hit up Bunnings, because those people really love to give advice. Resine, not so much. They couldn't really be bothered with us. But
Bunnings also have the odd sausage sizzle outside sometimes, so
that's true. Good. There's nothing like going out at sort of 11 o'clock on a Saturday. You've had your coffee, but you've forgotten to have breakfast. Getting to Bunnings and being like, oh man, there's a sausage sizzle on. Because then you get to fill your belly for real cheap, and then also get the warm fuzzies because you've supported a local cause.
Man, usually, those gold coin saucies are amazing value.
Yeah. Especially if you ask for everything, like sauce, mustard, the whole lot in there, then yeah, it's value for money for sure. But yeah, that's my there you go. That's my 3 weeks summed up. A little bit of The Last Guardian. Actually, I did play Dirt Rally for a little bit again, just because I talked to a workmate, and then watching paint dry. So yeah.
Brilliant. Well, when you borrowed The Last Guardian off me, you mentioned that I got a game off you that you brought up for me, and that game was Assassin's Creed Origins. And I mean, this is the first Assassin's Creed game I've played since Black Flag, and Black Flag was the first Assassin's Creed game I'd played since 2 Brotherhood, maybe. I haven't had a great history with the franchise just because it became so boring and copy and paste and go here, tick off a laundry list of things, remove a bunch of icons from the map because they just overwhelm me. And,
very samey the whole way through. Yeah.
Oh, it's absolute rubbish. I am probably about 20 hours in, I would say, into Assassin's Creed Origins, and let me just tell you that for a Ubisoft game is pretty impressive for me. I haven't put that many hours into a Ubisoft game in a long time.
When we were talking before about EA and how, perhaps what I said wasn't deserved, maybe what I meant was actually Ubisoft, So it's nice to hear, given that, that you're actually having a good time with it. That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, man. This game, I mean, I would say it took me by surprise, but it didn't, because I heard good things about it. I couldn't avoid that before I played it, but it's a really good video game, Assassin's Creed Origins.
You sound really so genuinely surprised, which is great.
I was pleasantly surprised, man. It's interesting. It's well made. It's gorgeous to look at. It's filled with stuff you actually want to do. I mean, I remember reading things about they were taking influence from quest designs of things like The Witcher, and it's really evident. Even the side quests are really fun and have you exploring stuff. You're uncovering when you explore. you're always finding something new, and it's usually gear, it's usually loot. I'll let people know that it's most of the time just a sword with better stats or an axe with better stats or whatever. But there's still a lot of fun in discovering something like that on your own. Ubisoft have sort of done really well in minimizing direction for you and minimizing a bunch of just boxes that you want to tick. It's more like, hey, I actually really want to get out and explore this world. And there's sort of, there's a really good, it sounds really corny. I remember it sounds like a back of the box quote, and they're like, a living, breathing world. It's like, no, that really is what this game feels like. It's awesome.
Did you say living, breathing? But did you notice the repetitive dialogue in the NPCs, like the same thing that they say over and over and over again? Have you noticed that yet?
No, I haven't. Okay. No. I've sort of been on the move quite a bit.
Right.
I've been keeping busy and not hanging around one area for too long.
Nice.
Just in case I do start to get bored of it. And if I start to get bored of a Ubisoft game, I don't generally pick it back up. So I'm being very careful of that. I'm trying to invest as much as I can into Origins at the moment. But there's just a few things I'll touch on that I really, really like in this game. The first is the animals and the animal encounters that you have.
Yeah.
And man, like the hippopotamuses in this game are scary as hell, man. Like, they sometimes they come out of nowhere. You just be minding your own business in a swamp or something like that, or looking around for something, making your way to a waypoint, and a hippo will just come out of nowhere, surface out of the water and just like fuck your shit up. It's really brutal. It's quite terrifying, and I always feel really bad because I'm an animal lover, in the real world, and I always feel really bad killing even virtual animals, but you have to, and Ubisoft games have a trend of that as well.
It's you or the hippopotamus, for sure.
It really is, yeah.
Or in some
they
cases,
can kill you in a couple of hits.
Yeah, you or the like team of hippopotamuses.
Hippopotami.
I don't
even know if that's correct.
Yeah, we'll go with it. You're dead right though. They are intimidating, which is a cool thing. Like, I think it's cool when you're playing a game and it genuinely inspires that emotion in you, whether it's intimidation or whatever, or fear.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I'll tell you guys quickly about a particular encounter I had, which just had me go through so many emotions. I was sort of chasing after. You can sort of collect resources from different people, and you can use your eagle buddy to check out where the resources are, and then you can target them and make that a waypoint and go and take someone out and steal their bronze or whatever. And I was doing that with some guys in chariots that were just honing around the outskirts of a city, and I came up behind this guy and was going to hijack his chariot, and his mate saw me, and they all got on alert and they stopped and they started attacking me. So I had about 5 to 7 dudes all going after me. I was like, shit, and I started to back away from this encounter because I thought I'd probably get taken out. And I walked into a hippopotami den, or whatever you call it, a collected noun for a group of hippopotami. And they got in on the battle, and they started fighting me, and they started fighting these, the Egyptian equivalent of Roman centurions sort of thing. And it was amazing. There was just dudes flying everywhere, hippopotamuses roaring, blood going everywhere. I was sort of trying to back out of the fight and just watch from afar and watch these two groups go at it while I sort of slinked my, like Homer Simpson going back into the hedge. I was just like, I'm just gonna kind of leave you guys to it. And I turned around so the camera wasn't facing them anymore, just to leg it out of there. And when I turned back, this on fire hippopotamus just runs from one side of the screen to the other, like screaming, and just wails on this dude and sends him flying. Like, there was this crazy glitch where this dude flew like 35 meters, and I was like, wow, like this guy disappeared like Team Rocket, and it's just this hippopotamus, flaming hippopotamus, just roaring, and I don't know, it was incredible. I was like, whoa, this is insane.
That's what
I've
they
never
call
had this from an Assassin's Creed
gameplay.
That's the one. Yeah, I was trying to avoid that term because it's very games pressy, but it really was emergent gameplay. It reminds me of Far Cry 4, where you'd have like a pig or something, and you'd see an eagle come along and grab the pig and just fly off with it. You're like, holy shit, it's amazing. But yeah, I mean, the combat is a lot more fulfilling. It isn't kind of waiting for everyone to have their turn.
Yeah.
Remember the old Assassin's Creed games? They used to just attack you one by one and you'd sort of just counter them and take them out.
Yeah, man. I reckon with those early Assassin's Creed, you could probably put a blindfold on and just like listen to it and kind of be able to like, you'd be like, okay, cool, block 1, 2, 3, 4, block. You know, there was a very clear rhythm to those games. Which, you know, is fine and also not fine at the same time.
Yeah, it's more that sort of Dark Soulsy style lock on to someone and pivot around them. Now, which is really good, and they don't all wait for, you know, one guy to attack you and the next guy to attack you. They don't take turns. They all wail on you. So there is a feel of a challenge there as well, which is really cool. The one thing I did turn off was the little numbers that come out from people, like Borderlands-esque kind of hit points. Numbers that come out. I thought that was stupid and didn't fit the world, so I turned that off. And yeah, just been really enjoying it. There's an awesome thing they do when you kill, you know, you assassinate, say, a person in the story who you're supposed to kill. It takes you to the land of the dead, which is really good because they've had that before in Assassin's Creed, where you go into this sort of weird cyber realm, like you're telepathically communicating with this person in their final moments after you've killed them or something. But being in ancient Egypt and being in the land of the dead, it gives it context and it really grounds it. And I don't know, it just gives it a lot more depth in that idea where you're just sort of talking to them.
That is a good point. I had never really thought about that. But it's going to be interesting to see how you go as you get further into it and start to see, like, actually, because it's the story of the Assassin Brotherhood, right? So it does deliver a lot of context, and I think in that regard also they did a very good job. So
a huge game. Like the map, the world is enormous. Like I've been, as I mentioned, played this for about 20 hours, and I think I've uncovered maybe 35 to 40% of it, maybe if I'm lucky. I literally just found the pyramids the other day and just sort of jumped on top of one and perched on the top of it and had a look around. It was like, wow, this game's like absolutely massive. But yeah, really, really enjoying that game. I don't know if we'll do a full review for it or anything like that. I think Regan and I will probably do a wee bit of in-depth chat at some point. But good work to to Ubisoft. It's a fantastic game.
Just also,
do you play as an Egyptian dude in it, or as a white dude wearing a VR headset?
No, you play as an Egyptian dude, and there's also that hokey Animus crap put in. You come out of the VR thing at points out of the Animus and just wander around and read text. They really, really need to learn that no one cares about those parts, except for the hardcore fans kind of thing. But
the hardcore fans, people cared about it in the first sort of 2 games when it was Desmond Miles, and it looked like it was going somewhere, and he was actually gaining abilities outside of the Animus. And then as soon as they killed him off, everyone was like, "Oh, this isn't a thing. Guess it's stopping." But then it never did.
Those parts are definitely they kind of kill the pacing a wee bit as well. Like they don't need to give context to. Like it's the strangest thing in video games that they feel they need to give context to you playing in Egypt. I'm like, no, I can just be playing in Egypt. It doesn't have to be someone's memories or anything. Like
this is clearly a work of fiction. You know, no one's going to be mistaking this for real life. You don't need justification for that. And they even say in those games, well, I know in the earlier ones they were like, this game is a work of fiction.
It does. They always say they're from all genders, creeds, and
what I want to know
all that sort of stuff.
Is if they put the Animus stuff in to avoid confusion, like, oh no, how am I in Egypt? How are the people who are that stupid going to feel when they get out of the Animus and then go, hang on, how am I in this office? I thought I was on my couch holding a controller.
What's going on?
Well, the weird thing as well is in the sections where you sort of come out of the Animus and you're wandering around just listening to audio logs and reading like computer documents, so boring that part, is you also appear to be in Egypt. So I'm like, what the hell's the point of this? Like, I'm just in this cave in the middle of a desert, which looks like I'm in Egypt. I'm like, well, why didn't you just cull that part and just make me Bayek, the protagonist, in Egypt, and just don't have me as this boring, normal person? Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I feel like they've just done it for so long now that they can't stop. They see it as it's a part of Assassin's Creed games, and it justifies things, and they're just going to keep going. No,
I
locked
think
into
to
the
them as
lore.
well, it's an easy way for them to do, what is it, like the outcome or the results of your actions without actually having to figure out how to cleverly write them into the ongoing plot. Like, instead of having to write how the actions of this dude resolve, just when he does something, have you get out of the Animus and read about something in the modern day to do with the Assassins and Templars that might have been a result of the action you just did in the past.
Right. Yeah, that is a good point, actually. Yeah, it's just trying to cut corners, really, isn't it, with exposition kind of thing.
They don't need to actually flesh it out or write a middle, just write a beginning, literally write a text document ending, and that's it. Then chuck you back in to do another beginning.
Oh man, but yeah, no, it is a good game. Apart from the swings and roundabouts, but it's better than Assassin's Creed has ever been, in my opinion. I think it's the best Assassin's Creed game I've ever played. I haven't played 2 for a very, very long time, but 2 was the one that I got really into. It had Leonardo da Vinci in it, and you had flying machines. It was very, very cool. But yeah, as far as I can remember of that one, this is better. So best Assassin's Creed ever made.
Wow.
Assassin's Creed Origins.
Big thing. Hey, just so you know, hippos have numerous collective nouns, and a group of hippos is often referred to as a crash, bloat, herd, pod, or dale.
Dale.
I
love crash.
Yeah, crash of hippos
I like
is good.
bloat.
Right? Bloat. Yeah, that's pretty good too. And those are the first 2 on the list. So a crash or a bloat.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. Crash just reminds me of when one pops up, you're just like, oh shit, it's like being hit by a car.
Yeah, well, exactly.
It's insane.
Yeah. And I'd imagine the bloat is kind of more when you see them just like a group of them hanging about in some mud.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
that is just
That's
perfect.
got blowing air out of their nose and getting the mud out of their nose. Yeah, that's awesome. And those little birds that I haven't seen one of those little birds that sit on their back and pick at them. Those are like that's a sort of Banjo-Kazooie style game waiting to happen.
I'm going to Google this. Hang on. Birds on hippos. Is it actually a thing, or is it just a...
Yeah. Oh, mate.
I feel like it might just be a Disney thing.
No, surely not. I'll be so disappointed if this is not a real thing. Those little birds that peck off the little mites and things on...
Oh, here we go.
Hippopotami.
They're called oxpeckers. Hippos. So this is a site that's talking about mutualism and symbiotic relationships.
Nice.
The hippo and oxpecker... the hippo and the oxpecker have a mutual relationship. The oxpecker lives on the hippo and eats all the parasites living on the hippo, and the hippo provides protection for the oxpecker. So both the hippo and the oxpecker benefit. There you go.
Beautiful symbiotic relationship there.
The animal kingdom is something special, guys.
You're not wrong there, Regan. Balthazar, what have you been playing, man? What have you been up to?
Some things. I think potentially what's more noteworthy than what I've been playing is what I've not been playing, or what I'm not going to be playing. Which is that in 2 days, my subscription to Final Fantasy XIV expires, and I will not be renewing it.
Oh, this is unprecedented.
Yeah,
I don't see. Okay, cool. That's interesting, but I don't believe you. I think I think this patch has come out, and I think they'll do another patch, and you'll be like, I'm going to play it. I think you'll play it again.
How much? Do you want to place an OCG on-air bet?
Ooh, make it official. Lock it in, boys.
Maybe I should hear you out before I do this. No, I'm keen. All right, let's do it. I'm not usually a betting man. Shall we say, well, how much do you want to bet? $20?
Yeah, all right, if you want. I was going to say 50 as a starting wager, but we can go down a bit if you're
money
chicken.
bags, these two.
I wouldn't say that I am a money bags, which is why I went with the $20 to start with. I say...
I'll agree to 20. That's
okay,
all right.
Cool. Yeah, 20 is a gentlemanly wager. Okay. 20. Yep, there we go. And the thing is, now that there's money on it, I know that's extra incentive for you not to. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Lay out your case. I want to hear
So,
it.
effectively, the latest patch added a new area called Eureka. Now, there are mixed feelings about Eureka. Some people love it, some people don't. I'm kind of in the middle, but what it is effectively is when you travel to Eureka, you have a separate level completely different to anything you've done in the main game. So you have to start at level 1 again. Your gear is all synchronized down, no matter what you're wearing. And there are no quests or anything. There's no story. The only reason to be there is to increase that level, because in doing so, you can create your relic weapon, which, if you think back to previous Final Fantasy stories, the relic weapons are those weapons that take probably 100 to 200 hours each to make. I have one from the original game and one from the first Heavensward expansion. And it's something that really drives my playing, going for this weapon that incrementally over time you build up. You start with this base weapon, you augment it with something, you then transform it into the next stage and buff that, and you just end up with this really badass, unique looking weapon that's all glowy and is a bit of an indicator that you are committed to the class you play, because you only get the one weapon for the one class, and that you've gone through these trials and tribulations and you've committed to this thing. And historically, it's been the normal gameplay. So you would maybe do a couple of quests to get the first weapon, and then from there, to build it up, you would just have to play the new content as it comes out, and do a certain number of challenges within them to build up on it each stage.
Right.
With Eureka, they've said that the entire relic creation system is bound to within Eureka. They're never going to bring it outside of Eureka. And Eureka itself, having no quests or anything, the only way to level up and get this power you need to create the relics is just killing monsters. But the monsters have insane amounts of health and take about 3 minutes to kill one, and you need to kill about 200 to level up once. And you start off at level 1 again, kind of thing. So it is the most inane, mindless task. And they've locked the main thing I look forward to doing with each expansion behind this. So effectively, the whole reason I do my dailies and things like that is to upgrade my armor so that my item level increases and I'm allowed to get into the new dungeons when they come out, so that I can continue to build up my relic weapon and eventually work towards completing it. But now that none of that is necessary, and the thing the relic weapon is behind is just the most painful gaming experience of my life, I don't give a fuck about getting my relic weapon, which is the only thing I looked forward to doing in Final Fantasy, and I have absolutely no desire or drive to play again, at least before the next expansion comes out and they announce the new relic weapons there, and maybe at that point I'll be able to jump back in and go for those ones. But by then it will have been over a year, so much catch up to do, that I'll probably just be like, nah, flag it, can't be fucked now. I've been out of it long enough that I just don't care anymore.
I can't understand why that, like, because obviously there's got to be a direction, a strategic decision that they've made this, right? That's kind of what I'm struggling to understand. Like, if they had done that, because my first thought when you mentioned this place was that you would go there and then you would play, like, it might be the same sort of idea, you still have the relics, all that kind of stuff, but rather than just fighting in it, like, just NPC enemies, you had to do PvE or something like that to get experience. Like, and then I would have been like, oh yeah, cool, they want to do like they're trying to go for some kind of esport, maybe angle or whatever. I don't know, something like that. But, like,
There's a lot more they could have done with it, for sure, in any way at all. The thing that really gets me, this thing was supposed to come out when Stormblood came out. It got delayed like 6 months because they felt it wasn't ready. And this is still what they released.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, it sounds like a good way to get rid of a lot of your player base, eh?
And so I kind of get why they did it, was because they wanted to reintroduce that original MMO where the stories you play and the quests you do are kind of ones that you create yourself as a player and with a community of players. There's nothing within the game that guides or directs you to do specific things. You make your own story. That was very much the original MMO mentality and how they worked. And I think they wanted to go back to those roots of, it's just about groups of people getting together, killing monsters to get stronger so that they can kill bigger monsters. But the problem is, we now live in a binge culture / a culture of unemployed slobs who just sit at home and play games 24 hours a day. So 3 days after your new content has come out, most people can't play it, because the people who can get in groups and know how to do things and explain it are now so far ahead, they're not going to bother to go back and help people, and they are the majority. So the people who can't commit that amount of time to something just get left so far behind they can ultimately never catch up. And that's what's already happened with this. It's been less than a week since it came out, and already there are people at the maximum level in there, and I'm level 2. I'm not gonna ever catch up, really. And that was the point where I was like, A, I quit, I'm not doing Eureka. And B, it really actually helped me recontextualize the whole of Final Fantasy XIV. That is what the game is. It's been on a more rewarding scale historically, so you actually get a good amount of returns for the time you invest. You get gear every few dungeons you run, so it's only every few hours you get a little reward. You get that carrot to incentivize you to go for the next carrot again. But now that they've released Eureka, which is the most extreme end of the scale, it's recontextualized the whole game for me and allowed me to realize that actually the only thing I was going for was better gear, to be able to do more dungeons, to get better gear. It's an endless treadmill. They do dot these cool story things throughout it, so you do actually have a desire to see what comes next. But it's not enough anymore. After Eureka, I've realized that this is just not the game it was when I started playing it.
Yeah.
It's catering towards the hardcore people who can who only play Final Fantasy XIV and nothing else.
Yeah.
And that's not me, and it's not ever going to be me. So I have to make a decision at this point. Do I play 14 or do I play games as a whole? And I choose gaming over one game.
Yep.
I totally understand that. Good justification too. I still wonder, like, if they backpedaled on it and they took it out, that's kind of what I'm hoping for on this $20 is that they like go, oh fuck, we made a mistake, let's go back to the old shit, and they like, I don't know, maybe they get rid of it or they just carry on with the original kind of content. That's what I'm hoping for, because I think if they did that, do you think you'd go back to it?
I don't know. I feel like not initially.
Yeah.
I might, because that relic weapon would be there again for me to go back to, but I would have to wait and see at least one more content update after then to show that they were committing and going back to the older type of content progression they had, rather than going back to just this update we release a new dungeon and a story update, this update we release a new raid. This update, dungeon and story, next one, raid. Dungeon, story, raid, just over and over.
Yeah.
I need to see that they're going to put other stuff in there and not just be about what's a quick, easy way to put out new content that's not actually new content. It's just reskinned old content.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, you heard it here first. We've got a $20 bet locked in.
Yeah.
Will Balthazar go back to Final Fantasy XIV?
How do we know when it's over?
Well, exactly. I was about to say the same thing. Like, we need to put a time frame on it. So how often do they do the updates?
Every 3 months.
So we need to wait at least
March. So June.
Should we say by the end of the year?
Sure.
Because that gives us like a good, like, that's at least 3 updates kind of thing. So yeah.
Someone put that in their Google Calendar to remind them. December.
We'll remember. I reckon we'll remember. And
I feel like, we'll remember in the sense that if I start playing again before the end of the year, Regan will bring it up.
Of course. Regan, what would you spend your $20 on?
How will I know if you start? I'll only know if you tell us. So
True.
I mean, it's a gentleman's agreement, right?
It is. Yeah. What would I? Did you just ask what I'll spend my $20 on?
Yeah.
Very good question. I would probably buy. I've got this old motorbike that I'm going to do up. I'd probably buy something for that, or I'd save it and.
Okay, you're not allowed to save it.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, fair enough. It's a boring answer. I would. I'd go to the casino and put it all on red.
Oh, nice. That's the sort of reckless abandon I like hearing.
All right. If I win, that's what I'll do. Done.
Nice. What, does Wellington have a casino?
I'm not sure. I'll come to Auckland and I'll put $20 at Sky City.
We'll go to Sky City.
New Zealand's premier casino.
It's the one. Balthazar, what would you spend your $20 on?
Same, but we'll flip it 20 on black.
$20
nice.
on black.
Yeah, good.
I love this a lot. All right. Well, there's going to be an OCG trip to Sky City, and we'll probably be there for around 5 minutes. As one of these boys either loses or I don't know. If you guys say you put it all on red or black and you came away, you won. Say you doubled your money, would you go back?
No.
Okay, you walk away from the table, Regan.
I don't know.
We got a gambler in the midst.
Yeah, well see. This is the thing. Like, have you guys ever been to a casino, to the roulette table? It's good.
Yeah,
fun.
I played a couple of hands of blackjack and then walked away with the exact amount of money that I came.
Oh, nice. I don't know. I find it fun. I'd probably take the $10 that I won and hang on to that, and then use the $20 I won, and then reinvest the original $20. See how I go. Yeah,
nice.
Why not?
Just go down to Burger Fuel down the street and get yourself a combo, and then hold on to the original $20.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, this is some good content in the works there, guys. I'll bring my camera, and they definitely won't kick us out if we're filming in Sky City, right?
Nah, people do that all the time, man. It's all good.
Yeah. No, totally.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to our movie section. We talk about movies and moving from video games to movies, and then back to video games again. Every week, every podcast, we go through what we call movies in a minute, in which one of the three of us, or actually it's going to be all three of us this week, have to sort of make a synopsis for something we've watched and sum up whether the movie was, how we felt about it, whether it was crap or good, in 60 seconds. So, with that in mind, Regan, do you want to do us the honours with a little movie, a Kiwi film actually?
Yeah.
Directed by Taika Waititi.
Don't give it away. This is some of my content for my minute.
Oh, mate. Okay. All right. Sorry. Just trying to, get a little background.
Just prime me up. No, fair enough. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right.
All right. We've got the stopwatch here. So, 3, 2, 1, go.
So, What We Do in the Shadows, as mentioned by Taika Waititi, and also directed by Jermaine Clement, apparently. 2014. I guess it's like a mockumentary about a bunch of vampires that are living in a flat. They're all flatting together in Wellington, and it's a great film. And there's some laugh out loud moments. It's not like constantly funny the whole way through, but it's pretty good. There's some funny moments. Some cool kind of characters and things in there as well. But essentially, they teach a hipster to be a vampire, and it's just filled with all the kind of stuff that would happen if they were vampires. There's like a 3,000-year-old vampire living in the basement, who does a good job at being hilarious for a 3,000-year-old vampire. How much time do I have left?
You're up to 36 seconds.
Is that all? Really?
Yeah, man. Keep going.
Usually minutes go really quickly.
Well, now you're on 42 seconds.
But yeah, I would say it's worth checking out if you're into that kind of, like, I guess, dry humor and, just a little bit of a laugh if you've got nothing else better to watch. But I mean, like, for a funny...
Good.
Done.
That's a minute. Nice, man. Well, you summarised that pretty well in 34 seconds.
Yeah, wow, thank you. I don't know. I just, there were some funny moments. But anyway, I'm not meant to say anything extra. What We Do in the Shadows.
That's
see
right.
it or maybe not
That's right.
see it. There you go. Yeah.
Have we all seen What We Do in the Shadows, us three? I mean, I have. Balthazar?
Yeah, I got taken to see it when I started a job.
Me too.
It was like, hey, we're all going to see this Kiwi movie. And I was like, cool, that's a good first day at work.
Was that your first day?
Was that your first? Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Man, that is a really good... You got free popcorn, free ice creams, all that shit as well.
Man, you must have been
free mini vampire cape.
Oh, yeah, and the vampire cape. Yep,
Holy shit.
And then bowling.
Downhill for you since then, basically.
All right, well, I'll go next, I suppose. If someone wants to count me down there.
Oh, okay, cool. Let me get my stopwatch out. Just bear with me as this happens.
It's all right.
All right, 5.
Organist.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
the movie I've been watching is called Annihilation. Annihilation is straight to Netflix in New Zealand. Overseas, it was in a small cinematic release. It's directed by Alex Garland. Sort of did The Beach, 28 Days Later. Most recent film before this was called Ex Machina. Annihilation stars Natalie Portman and a bunch of other lovely ladies, and they sort of form a team and go into this giant dishwashing liquid bubble-looking thing. Inside the bubble are some crazy critters,
30
and
seconds.
I don't want to give away why they're so crazy. But yeah, it's an absolute mindfuck of a film. There's an ending which I still don't quite understand, and I've heard various interpretations, but it's very, very worthwhile watching. It's awesome, got some really cool CGI, some cool critters, looks like Guillermo del Toro's type horror stuff in there as well. And totally worth your time. It's on Netflix, just over 2 hours long. Give it a whirl.
5,
yeah, that's
4,
that's
3, 2, 1, done.
and that's your lot.
That's your lot. What's interesting me about this is the last couple times we've done this, a minute has felt so short. But did that minute feel like a long time to you?
Yeah, it did. I think I'm used to the minute now, so I can sort of get all my thoughts just spilled out of me. I mean, most of them weren't coherent, and I know that, but it feels like I don't need that amount of time to somehow sum up a movie or at least get the thoughts out of my head.
Yeah, interesting.
So yeah,
we're adjusting.
Balthazar, you've got two here. Are you going to do both of them or just overall synopses?
Sure, I'll do both because you guys have both said a minute is long now, so I'll do two movies.
2 and 1.
All right. Okay.
Nice.
No worries. All right. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Keanu Reeves stars as John Wick in John Wick, a retired hitman who is forced out of retirement after Reek from Game of Thrones kills his dog and steals his car. The dog was the last semblance of sanity he had, gifted to him by his wife after she died. Don't know how you get a gift after someone's died, but there you go. He returns to his hitman life, digging up his guns and stuff, and he wrecks shit. It's really convenient how every time he goes into a club, they're playing his theme song for him to kill people to. I always thought that always worked out quite nicely. But ultimately, in the end, he not only kills the kid who did it, he also kills his father, who was the head of that branch of the mob organization, and tries to go back into retirement before some Johnny Nobody comes and blows up his house.
5 seconds.
And so he's forced back out of retirement again and kills some more people with a headshot every time.
Nice, that's time. Oh man, that was actually really good. That was really coherent, and I don't know, it was just so much better than my own.
I felt like it was a good
I
teaser.
didn't even get to Morpheus being in the second one, but oh well.
Oh, really?
That was
Morpheus and Keanu Reeves back together.
yeah.
Lawrence
There's a bit of a wink and a nod to the old Matrix, eh? And
Oh, really?
second one,
Yeah.
yeah. There is.
Yeah, no, I felt like there was a good teaser because I haven't seen either of them. I've heard good things. Yeah, no, I'm a...
Well, number one is on Netflix now.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I might have to check it out. But yeah, no, I'm pumped for it now. Good job.
Awesome soundtrack in John Wick. Eh? Love it. It's Hotline, very Hotline Miami-esque.
By
Cool.
La Castlevania.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember you mentioned that. I was like, that can't be. That sounds like a YouTuber. But yeah, that's the lot. That's
There
movies
it
in
is.
a minute.
Movies in a minute. Over and done with it. In actually 3 minutes this time. That was amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Usually it's like 10. We call it movies in a minute, and it takes about bloody 3 hours. So we'll it's we're getting better at this thing. We will move on into our news, which isn't really, well, it kind of is news. It's more, we want to talk about the Nintendo Direct, which happened in the last fortnight or so, and there was quite a few cool little announcements peppered through the half hour conference type thing they had there. And if you go onto overcastgamer.com, you can read our personal favorite takeaways. We've each done one there. You can read what we're excited about from the Nintendo Direct, but I think I'll just whiz through most things that were announced, and if you guys want to talk about something, just chime in.
Cool.
So we started
chime.
with ready to chime? Ready, got those wind chimes ready? All right, we are starting with 3DS, everyone's favorite console, and we had WarioWare Gold. Now, I'm excited about WarioWare. Not on 3DS because I don't have one anymore. But when it eventually gets to Switch, which it will, I'm going to be very, very pumped for that game because it's just so bizarre. It's such a weird little game, WarioWare.
Strange.
The mini games just seem like the most random assortment of elements.
I'd love to be in the room when they think of all those fucking games, eh? Like, they're just...
Pick your nose or like bounce a ball on some weird looking fat guy or something like.
Yeah, if you don't know what WarioWare is, watch this Nintendo Direct and just sort of let it sink in. It's interesting stuff.
Or just YouTube best WarioWare games because that'll give you a show of there's some real weird stuff in there. Eh? Brush your teeth, very strange. It's a lot of fun though. I love WarioWare. I also noticed when they announced WarioWare, they avoided the term mini games and they called them micro games. I thought that was really pedantic of Nintendo to do that.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if mini games sort of removes some of the feeling of them actually being good. If you say mini games.
Yeah, maybe.
But
maybe it's because you don't get any of them on the cartridge. They're all microtransactions.
Oh man, that would be brutal.
Oh, brand suicide on Nintendo.
Absolutely. We then got a game called Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers. Now, what I've got written down here is some sort of crazy action RPG come racer with a crocodile for the main character. That's
Solid.
what it was. I don't know anything else about it. It looked like Final Fantasy with this weird crocodile dude, and then there was some racing in there as well. So yeah, don't really know what to make of that one, but it looks weird. We've got Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, where they literally go inside Bowser. And yeah, the Mario and Luigi games are always awesome. I remember playing them back on the Game Boy Advance, and they were so much fun. They're the ones where you use like A to make Mario jump and B to make Luigi jump. So it has that sort of brother's tale of two sons thing going on. So again, it'll be cool once this comes to Switch, or if it does. Otherwise, I don't have any way to play it, so not that interested. We've got Detective Pikachu. Now, Regan, I know you have some thoughts on Detective Pikachu. You've voiced some in the past.
Yeah, I just watch it. It's so cool. Like this bizarrely voice acted. So what? Like American New York? Is he in New York? Is it a New York?
It sounded a little bit like Nathan Fillion, but Nathan Fillion kind of just sounds like every American dude with some charisma.
Yeah, well, totally. So it's an American Pikachu, and he's a detective. And that's great. Like,
it's really unsettling to watch that voice come out of Pikachu, to be honest. It's really weird.
Yeah, it is odd. It is very odd. But what do you expect from Nintendo, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I think that looks hilarious. I'd definitely play that if I could. Hopefully, it comes to Switch. It's another one of those ones where it's like, that looks really fun, but don't have the hardware. So
yeah, I think that'll be coming to Switch. I reckon that will be. Nintendo's trying to crank up a new franchise with Detective Pikachu by the looks of things. Oh, sorry, I should say Tim and Detective Pikachu, because you have a human buddy called Tim. So it's Tim and Detective Pikachu, which is just the best. I mean, you couldn't ask for more than that. Tim is perfect.
I just hope a repeat phrase from Pikachu is, "I don't think so, Tim."
Oh, man. Yeah, my dreams. So we got a Luigi's Mansion remake for 3DS, which is awesome. I never played Luigi's Mansion, but I heard really good things, and I love Luigi as a character, and I love the idea of sucking up ghosts with a vacuum cleaner. So yeah, that's being remade and coming to 3DS, and hopefully that one gets over onto Switch as well, or maybe a new Luigi's Mansion game. Maybe they've had two of those, right? They had Luigi's Mansion 2. I can't remember what the subtitle was, but it was on 3DS as well. And
too many subtitles.
Yeah, I know. But that's all the 3DS notes I've got. We then moved on to the main attraction, Nintendo Switch. Kicked things off with Kirby's Star Allies. Now, this is it looks like a Kirby game. It's just sort of platforming, usual Kirby style game, but it's like a platforming beat 'em up, which looks kind of awesome. It's got the whole Switch thing where you're playing with 4 other people and you're all just on that flat plane, that 2D plane, but you're just beating the crap out of NPCs and and each other. and it's sort of Smash Bros fused with Kirby in a way. Just a Cuba game. So I don't know. I'm interested in that. I definitely wouldn't pay Nintendo's outrageous full price. The price they have for everything they release, which is like $110. But I'd pick it up if it was $30 or something like that. Kirby Star Allies.
Hint.
Yeah. Okami HD, which I'm also very excited about because I remember Okami was one of those games on PS2 that I never got around to playing. It's sort of steeped in Japanese mythology, or I think some of it might even be historical. And it's sort of a wolf. You play as a wolf, which I'm always, playing as an animal. You've got me. You've got me straight away.
Big time.
Yeah. So Okami HD coming summer 2018. It's coming this year. We've got Sushi Striker Way of Sushido. Best name ever. This looked terrible, to be honest. I wasn't a fan of it. It looked like a mobile game, and this is coming to Switch, remember. It looked awful. It looked like a Zynga game, or the guys who made the Facebook games.
Right.
It looked garbage, but it does appear to be first party or at least third party Nintendo, so it's probably going to be good, but it looks awful. I'm not a fan of this at all. It has this weird in-depth story that comes along with it, like fully animated, anime style cutscenes and things like that, which I was like, what the hell? Like, who wrote the sushi story?
Weird.
Very
But
game. Weird game.
Yeah. Again, Nintendo. Thanks for that, guys.
Nintendo.
Giving us the games we never knew we wanted.
Octopath Traveler. Now, people familiar with Octopath Traveler might remember it being called Project Octopath Traveler. And it sort of looks like an old Final Fantasy game or a Golden Sun game. But it also looks freaking gorgeous, this game. I love the art style to this. It's sort of a 3D diorama thing going on there.
I think Nintendo are calling it like HD 3D or something like that. So it's
of course they are. Yeah,
which
is
is
very catchy. Right?
Yeah, it's nice. It's great. But I've got the demo for this game on my Switch, and it looks really fun. Like if they can capture that feel of those old school Final Fantasy games, I'm well down on it. Keen beans.
There's one note I've got written down here where obviously you can have a bunch of characters with different classes, different skills and things like that. I remember it stood out to me that one of the classes is Dancer. Which I'm not too sure what's going on there. I remember a wee bit of controversy surrounding Project Octopath Traveler when it had its demo, as you mentioned, Regan, where if you play as the female character, one of your powers is to seduce people. And I was just like, not sure that's going to fly in 2018 there, Nintendo. It's,
but
she's
it's
just
not set in 2018.
Well, no, I don't know when the hell it's set, but she's in very skimpy clothing and she can seduce people. And I was like, I don't think
it'll be fine.
The court of public opinion will string up for that one. But I don't know. As Nintendo, will probably get away with it. Dark Souls Remastered, which is coming to Nintendo Switch. They are having a quote-unquote network test, which I thought was some interesting language to use. I'm not sure if that's sort of a weird mistranslation. I've never really heard anything that dull used in trying to lure people into the game, sort of thing. It's usually open a beta or network test. And it's like, oh god, that sounds like someone in the back room plugging cables in.
Sounds like if I join in, they're going to expect me to do something. Like
exactly. Report back with bugs and all that sort of rubbish. But Dark Souls Remastered, awesome, that's coming through. And there is a Dark Souls amiibo, the Salute the Sun dude. I'm not too familiar with Dark Souls lore. I'm not sure what that guy's actually called. Balthazar, you might be able to help us with that.
He's called Solar, and it's Praise the Sun. Please, internet, take Salute the Sun and do something with it.
There you go. You can obviously see how familiar with Dark Souls I am. But the amiibo looks cool, and it's hilarious having a Dark Souls amiibo, because it's just the oddest juxtaposition of happy and very unhappy that I've ever seen. Nintendo Gold points, so the sort of currency, the Nintendo's currency kind of thing, you can now earn those via seems to be sort of achievement style things equal to gamer score or PlayStation trophies, which is really cool. 1 point equals 1 cent, US dollars, I assume. So, they're jumping on board with I think you can do that on Xbox, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think PlayStation converts your game score or whatever PlayStation calls it to in-game money.
They do in the North American store.
Okay, right. So
it's a trial thing, I think, from either the start of this year or the end of last year.
Gotcha.
And with the point cent conversion, it is in your local currency, so it's 1 NZ cent on the NZ eShop.
That's very kind of them. I appreciate that. So we're not getting like 0.75 cents or something like that. All right, that's awesome. So we've then got Mario Tennis Aces. Regan, this was your highlight of the conference there, man.
I just noticed in there that there's obviously the motion controls, and that sounds fun. I never with the Switch, you play it as a handheld, and you get kind of caught up in the way that it's either in the dock or it's in your hands, and you forget that you actually have these 2 motion controllers on each side as well. So yeah, and it looks like a super fun game with some cool levels in there. So, you've got different counters that you can do, and even counter the big massive shots with, with moves of your own. So it looks really good. It looks really fun, and motion controls, it's just harkening back to the days of Wii Sports and things like that. So well down on that one.
Nice. Yeah, it's the Mario Tennis was on 64. Was it on SNES? I'm not actually too sure. I never played it on Super Nintendo. But I don't know. One thing I've got written down here, and I vividly remember from the conference, is they spent a hell of a lot of time on serves and like various things like that. It was about 10 minutes on Mario Tennis Aces in total, and I think about 7 minutes of that was on serves and just different tennis, like backhand, and I was just like, wow, this is really dry.
Yeah, fair enough.
No, it looks like a good game. Looks like a fun game. It'd be fun to play with other people. Probably horribly depressing to play by yourself, I would imagine.
Definitely.
So next we had my highlight of the conference, which was Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. I should give it its full title. Coming to Nintendo Switch, which I am stoked with, because Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker was only on Wii U. Might have been a 3D, a cut down 3DS version as well. I can't remember, but the full thing was only on Wii U. I never owned a Wii U, and I never got to play Captain Toad, and it looked like a hell of a lot of fun. It's that sort of puzzle platforming style thing where you just move around in an isometric kind of looking world and dodge piranha plants and collect stars and get to the end, which is that's all the incentive I really need, to be honest, in a video game these days, is get the thing and get to the end. I'm like, sweet, got some closure. Let's move on.
Done.
Great. But yeah, sorry, it's based on Japanese box gardens. I've got written down here as well, which is interesting to note.
Sounds very zen.
Yeah, very zen, very zen. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, coming July 10th to a Nintendo platform for the first time ever, which is pretty amazing.
It says a lot. It does. It says a lot about the Switch and how well it's doing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Crash Bandicoot's owned by Activision, we should say. It's not owned by Sony. So it's not like Sony was like, oh, yeah, you can use them too. Activision was like, give us money and we'll give them to you. Activision just selling to the highest bidder sort of thing. So it's but it's awesome that he's getting shared with Nintendo, because Crash is such a cool, mascot for gaming, and Nintendo is such a nice place to have him. And Crash might come to Smash Bros. That's what I'm excited about. That's awesome.
That would be cool. That would be very cool.
What a perfect character for Smash Brothers. So yeah, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I finished it. I loved it. It was a perfect remake, remaster. I could never get those bloody terminology right. It was a perfect whatever, and it's coming to Nintendo Switch. Little Nightmares, the complete edition. Now, this is a indie game, and sort of, I had a friend describe it as it kind of looks like Inside, and he's right, it does kind of look like Inside. It's that sort of hyper stylized lighting going on. Looks really awesome. Like, I've been wanting to play this on PS4 for a long time. I just haven't found a good deal on it yet. And it's finally coming to Nintendo Switch, and it's coming as the complete edition, so all the DLC and all that sort of stuff. So I think I might just pick it up on the Switch, play this thing on the go, which would be awesome.
Cool.
South Park, Fractured But Whole, is coming to Nintendo Switch as well, which is really good, because I think that's an awesome place for it. It's not too graphically intensive or anything like that, so, it'll be able to run smooth as butter on the old Switch. And that's a game I never actually finished. I got partway in, and then whatever else happened. Kind of distracted, and now I'm playing Assassin's Creed, so I'm not really sure what happened there. But it was fun for the time that I had with it. We've got Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition coming May 18th, 2018. Balthazar, I mean, I don't really know much about Hyrule Warriors, man. Did you play Hyrule Warriors?
Yeah, I had it on Wii U.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll pick it up on Switch for sure. It's arguably the best Musou Warriors game. So yeah, I mean, that's it. It's a Dynasty Warriors game, but with Zelda characters. It's good.
Nice. That's all you need. So that's obviously got all the DLC and all that sort of stuff as well. Definitive Edition. Splatoon 2, the Octo expansion is coming to Splatoon 2, which looks like a giant whack of content. It's a paid DLC sort of thing, but it looks like it adds quite a bit to the game, which is cool. Balthazar, would you be looking into that one at all?
I already bought it.
Oi, nice. Did you get that just after the direct? Because I think it went on sale.
Yeah, I decided to. I knew I would want to get it, and I decided to try out that gold points thing because I had heaps of gold coins. So I got it for $7.
Oh, nice.
Man, that is awesome. What a steal.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to kind of just building up those points over time, forgetting about them, and then having one of those periods where you're like, oh, I don't know if I can really get a game. I don't know if I can actually really afford this. And then you can just get it for free because of your points.
That's brilliant. That's what makes me like companies when they do stuff like that. Like, that's very, that's pro-consumer. That's a very pro-consumer thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's the complete opposite of most of EA's decisions. And then we'll move into the last thing, which is arguably the biggest announcement of the entire thing. A small teaser there. The Splatoon characters, what are the Squid Kids, I think they're called, are running around just sort of a black environment. Or no, it's a white environment, and they're colouring it. And a giant burning symbol appears in the sky, reflected in one of their eyeballs, and there's a whole bunch of characters silhouetted at the bottom, and it is Super Smash Brothers. So what do you think, guys? Is this going to be a remake or remaster or whatever port of the Wii U Super Smash Bros, or is this going to be a brand new Switch version?
A fighting game is defined by its characters and its maps. The Inklings have never been in a Smash Brothers game before, therefore this is a new Smash Brothers game, because the fighters make the game.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I mean, obviously the mechanics and things are tuned every iteration a little bit, but you make a good case, and I've seen some pretty hilarious people trying to figure out who the characters are and the silhouettes, and saying things like Knack is going to be one of them.
That's my favourite one.
Brilliant.
That would be amazing. That's never ever going to happen, but man, that would be so good. But as long as there's Donkey Kongs in there, I'm happy. DK, Diddy, Dixie. If you want to throw Cranky in there as well, that'd be much appreciated. Any other characters you guys want to see in Smash?
Just an existing one. Yep. I want to see what Samus's model will be, because I'm assuming it will be a teaser to what her appearance in Metroid Prime 4 will be.
Right. That would be really cool. Or do they usually have different skins that you can put on the fighters as well? So you can go from old Samus to new Samus, possibly?
Yeah, they do. I mean, normally it's just colour variations, but with Samus that still works, because she has like the regular suit, the Various suit, the Gravity suit, the Zero suit, and they're all just different colours of the same suit.
Nice.
So whatever the base model is, basically, I would believe to be the model that's going to be in Metroid Prime 4.
Man, that's exciting. Well, I mean, speaking of the skins thing and changing the colours, you can also do that with Cranky Kong's vest. So you could just make him have a whole bunch of different coloured vests.
Is that all you can change? Just his
That's all you can change. Just his vest.
Brilliant.
Just the colour of his vest. Do you want beige or like an olive green? It's up to you. The choice is yours. But yeah, that's the Nintendo Direct in a nutshell, really. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed myself. You know, it was a good time watching it, and then watching it again with some reactions from the old Easy Allies, which I always enjoy.
Nice.
Yeah,
enjoy hanging out with those guys.
I do as well. But yeah, that's our show for the week. To be honest, we don't have anything else to chat about unless you guys can think of anything.
No, I'm looking forward to watching more paint dry. I'll be sure to let everyone. I know you guys are excited about this. I know you are. Next podcast, I'll update you, and you'll get the closing chapter of the story.
Nice, man. Nice. Hopefully, not too many ear bubbles in there, Regan.
0 ear bubbles. I've made sure of that.
Nice.
It'll be perfect. I'll put some images up if anyone's interested.
I think that would be fantastic. Let's put some images up of your painted walls on our. We'll put those up on Facebook.
Yep.
Facebook.com/OvercastGamer if you want to see Regan's painted house. And yeah, I mean, we've actually done quite a bit of content recently. Overcastgamer.com is of course our website and where you can find it all. We've also got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/OvercastGamer. We've done the aforementioned video that will answer all your questions. I've also done a video comparing Assassin's Creed Origins to Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX on PC. So that was a lot of fun as well. And if you've ever wondered what the difference between those two games was, check that one out. And yeah, we're popping some more up in the not too distant future there. But until then, thank you for tuning in. As per usual, we may do a stream this week, depending on where everyone is. And take care out there, guys. Any final parting words, fellas?
Nah, I'm good.
I also have nothing.
See you later.